Welcome to the world of Carry On. In this series, we're going to take a look behind the scenes at how some of the greatest Carry On films were ever made. In this edition, we look back at the 1967 offering of Don't Lose Your Head. So let's meet the cast, who would be providing the laughs and trying to keep their heads. Sidney James as Sir Rodney Effin, aka the Black Fingernail. Kenneth Williams as Citizen Camembert. Jim Dall as Lord Darcy Pugh. Charles Hawtrey as the Duc de Pomfret. Joan Sims as Desiree Dewberry. Peter Butterworth as Citizen B-Day. And Danny Robin as Jacqueline. After 12 Carry On films and various other sub-like Carry On films released under Anglo Amalgamated, Peter Rogers was forced to look for a new distribution company. The Rank organisation proved willing. Legal questions over title ownership and Rank's concern over inheriting a rival's brand name led to the abandonment of the Carry On prefix for this opening venture. In a post-production meeting in February '67, Rogers commented that as the film was more visual than previous Carry On productions, it could stand on its own without a reference to Carry On. Still, Rank were mindful of the success of the series and considered the release as virtually the 13th Carry On film. The poster tagline even said "Carry on laughing until you have hysterics, but don't lose your head." At this time, Rank was keeping a close eye on the take-ins and how the audience had reacted to, a film without the Carry On prefix. This continued until the next film, Follow That Camel, which followed the same stance as Don't Lose Your Head, but with suggestions stating that it could be or couldn't be a Carry On film, was simply abandoned in America, and they released it when removed all confusion and simply retitled the film Carry On Pimpernel. There were a lot of disturbances or upsets during filming of this film. One was between Joan Sims and Kenneth Williams. He was rather rude to some guests that she had visiting the set. The feud continued for 3 days before eventually they decided to forgive and forget. Jim Dall wasn't happy about the working conditions and constantly were complaining to Peter Rogers. Mind you, he still didn't turn down the next Carry On film, Carry On Follow That Camel. He returned for more discomfort. However, that aside, ad-libbing in any Carry On film was strictly forbidden, but on the rare occasion, this was allowed. The joke, simply between Sid James and Jim Dall regarding "pop it in the basket and I'll read it later" gag, wasn't originally intended to be in the script, and they ad-libbed the line, and Gerald Thomas thought it was quite funny and decided to keep that in. And a special mention to French actress Danny Robin, who appeared in her only Carry On film, and the first non-British player to join the cast. She stayed in England while she filmed the full 6 weeks on the film, and apparently she enjoyed every minute of it. So without further ado, let's have a look at the film. It's the time of the French Revolution, and the French aristocracy are losing their heads under the watchful eye of Citizen Camembert and Citizen B-Day. But when this news gets back to good old Blighty, Rodney Effin and Lord Darcy Pugh decide to raise a finger or two to show utter contempt against the disgusting goings-on in France. Sir Rodney Effin and Lord Darcy rescue Duc de Pomfret from the guillotine, leaving a traditional calling card, 2 digits rampant, with one of the fingernails being black, hence the name the Black Fingernail. Whilst escaping France, Sir Rodney meets his true love, Jacqueline, leaving her with a silver locket containing a set of his mother's false teeth. On discovering her, Camembert and B-Day imprison her, using the locket as a trap. They travel to England to uncover the real identity of the Black Fingernail. They are now accompanied by Camembert's lover, Desiree, who is on the lookout to marry a man with a title, disguised as the Count and Countess de la Plume de Martante. Desiree pretends to be Camembert's flamboyant sister, and with the locket round her neck, tries to use this to try and find out who the Black Fingernail really is. Once they're in the Effin house, everyone's identity is unknowingly revealed. Foppish Sir Rodney challenges Camembert to a rigged duel in order to get a head start on the journey to Paris to rescue Jacqueline. Desiree is now in love herself with her hero, and she will do anything to save him from the guillotine in return for a promise that she will marry her man with a title. On arrival in Paris, the Fingernail discovers that Jacqueline has been moved to the Bastille. They rescue her and then find that she's been moved to the Chateau Neuf. And the trio decide to rescue her from the chateau. And ensuring a fight that has them all jumping from chandeliers and breaking up most of Camembert's artwork and precious vases, eventually the place comes tumbling down after Bidet makes a fatal blow with an axe. They rescue Jacqueline and they all escape and leave the Chateau Neuf to fall to its despair. For their incompetence, Robespierre orders the execution of Camembert and Bidet on a double guillotine. And they're relieved to know that the Fingernail is not there to see it. However, the Fingernail happens to be the executioner, who says he wouldn't miss it for the world. In the end, safely back in England, Effing marries Jacqueline and becomes Lady Effing, and Désirée finally marries a man with a title, the Duc de Pomfret, and they all live happily ever after. So, Carry On Don't Lose Your Head was filmed between the 12th of September and the 28th of October 1966, and subsequently released on the 2nd of March of 1967. The film used many locations, such as Waddesdon Manor, as it was the only chateau-looking place in Great Britain. Cliveden, Claydon Park and Claydon House were all used as well. So, Carry On Don't Lose Your Head. What do we think of it? Well, realistically, it's a blinding carry-on film. And yes, it could be or couldn't be a carry-on film. Without the title or with, it still works. It has everything that a carry-on should have. It has the humour, it has the laughs, and quite honestly, as a historical setting, it probably is one of the better historical carry-on films that we've seen since Carry On Cleo. It's a fun carry-on, and it has one of the best endings to a carry-on. A lot going on, a lot of funny bits, and things that will always be there in your memory, such as my brother, the Count. A famous line that really could get mistaken for something else. So, overall, Carry On Don't Lose Your Head is a great entry into the series, and whether it had the title, whether it didn't, it has it now. And the main thing is, we treat this and respect this as a carry-on. A true carry-on. Until next time, carry on laughing.